In the year 20753, humanity finally stood before the Galactic Council. For 300 years, humans had worked to reach the stars. They built ships from metal and fire. They pushed forward with science, stubborn will, and endless effort. They were not the most advanced species in the galaxy, but they were determined. When the invitation came from the Galactic Council, Earth celebrated. This was the moment humans had waited for. The Council ruled thousands of star systems. Its member species controlled powerful fleets, faster-than-light travel far beyond human understanding, and weapons that could erase planets. If Earth was accepted as an equal member, it would mean safety, trade, and respect. Human leaders prepared carefully. Scientists polished their achievements. Generals displayed fleet strength. Diplomats practiced speeches for months. The human ambassador, Ambassador Elias Rowan, traveled to the Council's central world with pride in his heart. The Council chamber was massive beyond imagination. It floated in space, built from shining crystal and living metal. Inside, hundreds of alien species watched from glowing platforms. Some were tall and thin with silver skin. Some were floating clouds of light. Some were creatures made of shifting liquid. All of them were older than humanity. Ambassador Rowan stood alone on a small platform at the center. He spoke calmly. Humanity seeks recognition as a sovereign interstellar power. We request full membership, equal status, and shared defense treaties. For a moment the chamber was silent. Then a low sound began. It was laughter, not human laughter.
Alien laughter, strange clicking sounds.
Deep vibrating tones. Bright flashes of mocking light. The humans watching from Earth felt their pride turn cold. One council elder, a being of blue crystal and light, responded. Your species uses controlled fusion as its primary energy source. Primitive.
Another voice spoke from a massive floating organism.
Your fastest ships are slow. Your weapons depend on kinetic impact. Outdated. Then the worst part came. Without warning, the chamber darkened. A large projection filled the air. It showed Earth's entire defense network, every satellite, every orbital weapon, every fleet location. In less than 12 minutes, the projection showed how easily it could all be destroyed. A minor council species had simulated the attack as a demonstration. Human defense systems failed, one by one on the screen. Orbital stations disabled. Communication grids silenced. Fleet command overridden. The council chamber grew quiet again. The Crystal Elder spoke once more. Humanity is not ready for equal membership. A pause. Earth will be placed under protected developing civilization status. The words felt heavier than any weapon. Protected. It meant monitored. Controlled. Limited. It meant the galaxy saw humans as children. Ambassador Rowan stood still. His face did not show anger. But inside, something burned. He gave a short reply. Humanity acknowledges the Council's decision. No shouting, no protest. The transmission ended. Back on Earth, billions had watched the broadcast live.
Cities were silent. No one cheered.
No one cried. They had not been attacked. But they had been humiliated. Military leaders gathered in quiet rooms. Scientists reviewed the Council's demonstration. Political leaders met behind closed doors. For 3 days, Earth said nothing. No official response. No diplomatic protest. No emotional speeches. Then something strange happened. Human deep space communication traffic suddenly decreased. Civilian broadcasts beyond the solar system stopped. Trade ships returning from alien space were recalled. Embassies quietly closed. The Council believed humanity was embarrassed. They believed humans would accept their position and slowly grow under supervision. They were wrong. On Earth, in underground bunkers and orbital shipyards, new meetings began. Old military theories were reopened. Ancient human history was studied again. There was one lesson repeated many times in quiet rooms across the planet. Humans had been underestimated before.
Many times. Every time. They survived.
Every time they adapted. This time would be no different. In the darkness of space, beyond the sight of the Galactic Council, human shipyards increased production. Not louder, not bigger, just smarter.
Humanity did not scream. Humanity did not beg.
Humanity began to prepare. And across the stars, the Galactic Council did not realize they had just made the most dangerous mistake in galactic history. After the humiliation, the galaxy expected anger from Earth. They expected emotional speeches. They expected protests. They expected humans to act like a young, offended species. But Earth did something far more dangerous. It went silent. For weeks, there were no major broadcasts from the Sol system. Human trade ships stopped traveling beyond nearby sectors. Embassies closed quietly. Diplomats returned home without drama.
To the Galactic Council, it looked like shame. Some council members even joked about it.
They have accepted their place, one elder said. They will grow slowly, under supervision, another replied. But they did not understand humanity. Inside the Sol system, activity increased. Deep under the oceans of Earth, secret research centers worked without rest. On Mars, shipyards expanded in shadow. Around Jupiter's moons, factories operated day and night. No announcements were made, no flags were raised. Everything was calm on the surface.
But humanity was thinking.
In a secure underground command center beneath the Himalayas, world leaders gathered with military commanders and scientists. There were no arguments, no panic. Only one question was asked. How do we win against a stronger enemy? Admiral Hanna Volkov stood before the Global Defense Council. She had studied every second of the Council's simulation. She knew how easily Earth had been defeated on that giant alien screen. They are stronger in technology, she said calmly, so we stopped trying to match their technology. The room stayed silent. We do what humans always do. We adapt differently. That was the beginning of the new strategy. Human scientists stopped focusing on brighter energy weapons. Instead, they studied physics. Simple, brutal physics. Mass, velocity, momentum. If something heavy moved fast enough, no shield could ignore it. Projects that had once been labeled too extreme were reopened. Asteroid redirection systems were redesigned into long-range weapons. Old cargo ships were modified into stealth carriers. Artificial intelligence programs were upgraded, not to replace humans, but to work beside them. Unlike many alien species, humans had lived with dangerous AI for centuries. They had survived cyber wars, rogue code, and digital disasters. They had learned hard lessons. Now they used that experience. Meanwhile, the military changed its structure. Instead of large fleets that looked impressive, humanity built smaller, independent strike groups. Each one could operate alone for years. Ships were designed without bright energy shields. Instead, they were built with layered armor and redundant systems. If one part was destroyed, another would continue working. Human ships were not beautiful. They were practical. Ugly, silent, durable. Far beyond Pluto, in the dark edge of the solar system, construction platforms built something new. Vessels designed for long-term drifting. Ships that could power down completely and float like space debris. They would not travel fast. They would travel quietly. On Earth, citizens slowly understood what was happening. News networks did not shout about war, but military recruitment increased. Resource consumption was carefully controlled. Economies shifted toward heavy industry. It was not forced. People volunteered. They had seen the laughter of the council. They had seen Earth treated like a child. That memory was enough. Then years. The Galactic Council grew comfortable again. Human silence became normal. Trade with other species continued without Earth. The galaxy moved on, but in deep space, small human probes drifted into Council territory. They did not attack. They observed. They mapped hyperspace routes. They studied supply chains. They watched military patrol patterns. Humans had learned something important from the humiliation. The Council believed war was about power. Humans believed war was about weakness. Find the weakness. Exploit it. In the underground command center, Admiral Volkov received the latest reports. The preparations were almost complete.
Humanity was not building an empire. Humanity was building a message.
One final meeting was held. There were no loud speeches. Only one decision. Earth would not ask again for recognition. It would take it. And when the first human strike ships powered on in the darkness beyond the solar system, no alarms sounded across the galaxy. The Council still believed humanity was wounded and ashamed. They did not realize the silence of Saul was not surrender. It was the quiet before the storm. The galaxy had forgotten Earth. The Council thought humans were weak, silent, and harmless. They had not noticed the changes. They had not noticed the ships drifting silently at the edge of known space. They had not noticed the weapons hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right moment. Then the first strike came. It did not come with fanfare. There was no warning. 3 minor council species simply vanished. Their fleets disappeared. Their orbital stations went dark. Their communication signals were gone. No alarms. No battle cries. No emergency calls. The Council was confused, panicked, terrified. Admiral Hanna Volkov watched the reports from Earth. Her eyes were calm. Her fingers moved over the holographic display with quiet precision. "They are not gone," she said softly. "They are destroyed." How? The Council did not understand. Their sensors had detected nothing unusual. No energy bursts. No warp signatures. No beams of light. Nothing. Then they received the human message. A single transmission. You mistook patience for weakness. You laughed. Now you will regret it. Human fleets emerged from the darkness like shadows. They had not raced across space. They had coasted slowly, quietly, for years. Their ships looked ordinary, even old-fashioned, but they carried a secret power. Every vessel was a weapon, every asteroid redirected, every cargo ship modified for war. The Council fleets tried to respond. They unleashed energy weapons. They called in reinforcements. They sent their fastest strike groups. It did not matter. Human projectiles struck first. Asteroids, accelerated by hidden drives, hit ships before they even reached firing range. Small carriers released swarms of drones that mimicked cosmic background radiation, slipping past sensors. Entire fleets evaporated before a single council beam could land. The galaxy watched in horror. For the first time, humans were not the underdog. Humans were the storm. On Earth, civilians cheered quietly in their homes, not because of joy, because of pride. They had been humiliated. They had been laughed at. They had been told they were weak. Now the galaxy understood the truth. Humans were dangerous. In the council chambers, chaos spread. Elders shouted orders, but their fleets had already been shattered. Communications failed. The younger species begged for mercy, but there was none to give. Admiral Volkov's strategy was simple. Do not fight their strongest. Fight their weak points. Use their confidence against them. Strike where they believe no one can reach. And it worked. In just 3 rotations of council time, the first wave of human strikes left a permanent mark. Supply lines were broken. Shipyards were gone. Colonies that had felt safe in the council's protection were now isolated, vulnerable, and terrified. Yet humanity had not lost a single human life in these strikes. The weapons were precise. The strikes were controlled. They were designed to send a message, not to kill without purpose. Then came the next surprise. The human ships that had struck so far vanished as quietly as they appeared. They returned to hidden positions, blending into asteroid fields, drifting like empty shells. No one could track them. No one could anticipate them. And across the galaxy, whispers began. The humans. They are not what we thought. Hanna Volkov smiled as she watched the reports. Let them come for us, she said. They will find only ghosts. And when they strike next, we will be ready. The council realized too late that the war had already begun. Humans had turned humiliation into preparation, patience into power, silence into fear. The galaxy had mocked them for centuries. And now, the galaxy would learn what humanity could do when cornered. The first strike was only the beginning. The storm had arrived. The Galactic Council had never faced a threat like humanity. For centuries, they had ruled the stars with precision. Their fleets were fast. Their weapons were stronger. Their intelligence networks were unmatched. And yet, they could not stop Earth. After the first strikes, panic spread through Council worlds. Entire sectors fortified themselves, but it was too late. Humanity had already learned every weakness, every predictable pattern. Admiral Hanna Volkov watched the reports from her command center in Earth orbit. Her face was calm, but her mind was sharp. Every strike, every plan, every hidden fleet had been carefully prepared for years. The humans did not fight like the Council expected. They did not match energy weapons with energy weapons. They used gravity, mass, momentum. Old cargo ships became death machines. Asteroids became unstoppable projectiles. AI-guided swarms moved silently, striking where sensors could not detect. The Council sent their strongest fleets. They called the galaxy's elite warriors. They unleashed advanced weapons that could vaporize moons. Humanity adapted. When the Council tried to block their routes with warp interdiction arrays, humans shifted to hidden jump points that no alien had mapped. When energy shields blocked direct attacks, humans used kinetic bombardment. When AI viruses were sent to attack human ships, their own machines absorbed and repurposed the code into counterattacks. It was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. On Earth, people watched the news feeds with quiet pride. Schools, homes, factories. Every citizen had contributed. Scientists, engineers, and soldiers had worked together. Citizens had supplied raw materials, calculated trajectories, and monitored communications. This was humanity united, not for glory, but for respect. The Council had underestimated a simple truth. Humans survived against impossible odds. They had survived plagues, wars, and natural disasters on a fragile planet. They had built a civilization that thrived despite every challenge. Now, that survival instinct had become a weapon. In orbit above the Sol system, Anna Volkov issued the next orders. Ships moved silently from hidden stations, aligning for the final strikes. Each vessel knew its target and its purpose. No ship wasted energy. No weapon missed its mark. The first Council worlds to face humanity's full force fell quickly. Supply lines crumbled. Command centers were disabled. Communications went dark. Alien citizens fled in panic, realizing their technology could not save them from something so simple, so human. When the Council finally sent envoys to demand a ceasefire, the humans replied with calm precision. You laughed at us. You humiliated us. We do not ask for recognition. We take it. And so, humanity took control. Not through conquest of every world, but through undeniable power and strategic brilliance. The Galactic Council had learned a lesson that no treaty or weapon could teach. Never underestimate a species that survived extinction itself. In the following months, peace negotiations began. The Council offered terms of alliance and recognition. Humans accepted, but on one condition: equality. No species would ever dismiss humanity again. On Earth, people celebrated quietly, not with arrogance, but with pride. The galaxy had finally seen what humans had always known. Their strength was not in technology alone. It was in their courage, creativity, and unity. Admiral Volkov looked at the stars, thinking of the countless lives lost in preparation, and the countless more saved by strategy and patience. The galaxy had mocked humans for centuries. Now, every alien species would remember them. Humans had turned humiliation into preparation, weakness into power, silence into fear. And in the year 2760, 7 years after the Council's insult, humanity was no longer a child. It was a storm the galaxy would never forget. And somewhere in the darkness of space, the first human ships waited, ready for the next challenge, silently reminding every species that had laughed, never humiliate humanity. Because humans never forget. Because humans never surrender. Because humans always rise.